Hi guys, I'm here to do a quick September wrap-up. I, of course, overplanned and thought I was going to get a ton of reading done in September, and obviously it didn't happen. I only managed to read 4 books, so I'm disappointed. I wish I had had more time to read more books, but just life gets in the way. So let's just quickly go over the ones I did read. So the first book I finished was The Color of Our Sky by Amita Tracy, and I gave this book 4 stars. I thought it was really good. It was about 2 friends, I can't remember their names now, Tara and then an Indian girl named Mukta, and it takes place in India, and Mukta is taken in by Tara's family, and she kind of becomes like a sister to her, but the mother and grandmother treat her like a servant, and the father wants her to go to school with his daughter and to learn and become somebody, and it was very interesting. It takes place it's between 1986 and then 1993, and it flip-flops because one night Mukta disappears and Tara kind of doesn't know what happens to her, and then later on in life she decides to go looking for her, and it was a beautiful story, really interesting. I'm glad I read that. Then next, I listened to an audiobook, City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Mortal Instruments series, and I also gave this 4 stars. I couldn't bring myself to read this. I think the size is intimidating, and the type of story just isn't something that I naturally gravitate towards. So because I already own the first, I think, 3 or 4 books in the series, I felt like I should at least give one of them a try. And then if I didn't like them, I can always donate them, or I have a little free library now outside my house. I can put it in there or whatever, but I just wanted to try it and see if I liked it. And I listened to it on audiobook, and I did enjoy it. It's something like 15 hours or something, which is a lot, but I just listened to it in the car, driving my kids to and from school and going to work and whatnot. So I was able to finish this. I believe, I can't remember if I started it in September. I think I did start it in September. So it did take me, 3 weeks into September to finish it. But I did enjoy it, and I am going to read the second book, and I will probably listen to that also on audiobook. Again, the next book I finished was Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls by Lynn Weingarten, which I gave 2 stars. I did not enjoy this book. It was about a girl named Delia and her friend June, and Delia supposedly commits suicide by setting herself on fire, and June just doesn't believe that this can be true because she knows Delia had this she was deathly afraid of fire. So she starts questioning what's going on, and they kind of had a falling out, so she wasn't really sure who to trust and which friends to go to and whatnot. And I didn't think it was that interesting. That was just alright. I'm not going to read it again. It wasn't a complete waste of time, but it wasn't anything that was super memorable. So, and then the last book that I finished was Asking for It by Louise O'Neill, and I believe this is the UK version. I read this when I was on a trip, and I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was very interesting. It's about a girl named Emma O'Donovan, who is kind of this legend at school. She's like beautiful, and everybody's in love with her, but she's like doesn't really commit to anybody, and she has this like reputation, and something happens at a party, and then there's like videos and photos and everything's posted all over the internet, and kind of her life just falls apart at that point, and her family, and what they want her to do versus what she wants to do. And there's a blurb on the back, like, just, it doesn't say who it's by. I don't know if it's from the author. It says, a brave, bold, and important novel about sexual consent and betrayal, victim blaming, and truth in the age of the smartphone. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's extremely relevant for the things that are going on in these days, and like how prevalent it is to have everybody videoing everyone else, and even without their consent, and taking photos and posting them without their consent, and how important it is to think about your decisions, and this decisions that you're making for other people if you're posting pictures of them online, and how that's going to affect their lives. So I really enjoyed this book, and I'm looking forward to reading another book by Louise O'Neill. So I'm also going to do my October TBR really quickly. Of course, we're already 9 days into October, and I'm already 2 books behind. So I'm just going to talk about the books that I'm planning on reading. I don't know if I will get to all of these, but so firstly I have The Dead House by Dawn Kurdigish. I don't know, this actually just finished this like 10 minutes ago. I thought it was alright. It's all written in a series of like audio clips and video clips, transcripts of video clips and notes and things like that, about a girl named Carly who you're not sure if she has a split personality or if she's possessed or what the story is. And it takes place at this high school, like a boarding high school, and it's just 25 years ago the school burned down and 3 students were killed, and one disappeared, and so it kind of goes back and forth between the 2 time periods, and I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was like one of the best books I've ever read, and I probably won't read it again, but it was interesting for what it was. Then next I plan to read You by Caroline Kepnes. I've heard a lot about this book, written I believe in second person, where you feel like you're the one who's being stalked or something as you read it. I think it's written from the stalker's perspective. I could be totally off. I'm really excited to get to that one. I'm going to start that today. Also starting We Are the Goldens by Dana Reinhardt. This is really, really short, and I'm just hoping to kind of get another book under my belt. I'm, I think, like 10 or 11 books behind on my Goodreads goal, so I'm not sure I'll even get to finish it, but I'm going to try and read this and You at the same time, just keep switching off. I also want to read Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill. This is another book. It's about a bunch of girls at a school, and they're in their final years, and they're learning how to be the most beautiful girls that they can be in order to like be companions to, be wives or whatever, companions to their spouses, and if they the alternative is to be concubines or whatever. So it just sounds interesting, so I hope to get to that. Next I have Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. I own this and Girl of Nightmares, and I've had them for years, and I feel like if I'm not going to read them, then I need to get rid of them, because they're just sitting here, just sitting on my shelves, taking up space for the books that are piling up in front of them. So I want to read this, see if it's any good. If it is, then I'll go to the next one. If not, then I'll get rid of them. Then I have The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torrey. I've heard a lot about this book also. This is about a woman who I think doesn't go out of her house, but she subsidizes her income by like being an online companion, I guess. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but I'm excited to get to that one. And then I have Remember Mia by Alexandra Burt. And this is about a woman who wakes up in a hospital after being found near dead at the bottom of a ravine, and then she realizes that her daughter's missing, but they like can't find any evidence of this daughter or her being missing or whatever, so it's all kind of this very mysterious, was there a daughter, what happened to her, did the mother kill her, who knows. So that should be a good October read. I also have Pretty Baby by Mary Kubica. I have not read The Good Girl, but this is the one that I happened to pick up first, and it's a psychological thriller, and I'm not really sure what it's about, but I kind of tried to pick some creepy books for October. Then I have The Rules by Nancy Holder and Debbie Vigui, I don't know. So this is about Welcome to the Hunt. Rule number 1, never trust the people you call your friends. Rule number 2, be prepared for some seriously dangerous